Hey, are we lost? I think we're lost. Come on. Come on. Hello, welcome to Tim Anderson Horse Training. Today we're going to talk about planning a trip. I promise this will tie back into training horses, so please stay tuned. Whoa. Okay, so when you're planning a trip with your family, or pretty much any trip, are you the kind of person that wants to plan out every day and even the activities throughout the day? Or are you the kind of person that says, let's just get on the road and what happens, happens? I am the kind of person that says just get on the road. Me and my wife took a vacation a few years ago for 2 weeks, and we had a hotel reservation for the first night, and that was it. I said after that we're just gonna see where we end up, and that had her scared to death. She said, what if we can't find a hotel? I said, well, we'll figure something out. She's the kind of person that likes to not necessarily plan out all throughout the day, but have kind of a general itinerary. The reason I want to talk about that is when we're training horses and you're starting off in the beginning and you have goals, you have something you want to eventually get to, that's kind of like planning a trip. You know where you're at with the horse, you're starting at a certain point, and you know where you want to end up, whatever your goals might be. You might want to show and compete in something, you might just want to trail ride. Whatever that might be, you are starting off at one place and you're wanting to end up at another place. The problem that a lot of people run into is that they kind of get lost in between. We all watch videos, training videos of how to do just about anything you want to do with a horse, and a lot of them are really good informational videos, but nothing really talks about putting together that plan, putting together that map, that road map, or how are we going to get our horse from where we are to where we want to get to. So that's what I want to talk about today. So today I'm riding Harley. I've had her for a couple of weeks. I think the owners had told me she'd run off with them a couple of times. She was kind of, this is a horse that I did in my spooky but not really spooky video. If you haven't watched that, you really should watch it. And I did some work getting her mind back on me, and I had the people that own this horse, they're a young family. They have a couple of kids and relatively new to horses, so I knew where this horse needed to be. So I started off with working those issues that kind of spooky but not really spooky, and I identified where her problem actually was, which was in being a leader. So I established myself as a leader, and from there I've been on that road to her becoming the horse that she needs to be for this particular family. The thing about training horses is that you can have a roadmap, a plan of, I'm going to work on this today, I'm going to work on this tomorrow, and it might work out, but chances are it's probably not. Come on. Whoa. When you're training horses, you need to be the kind of person that says, let's just get on the road and see what happens. You never know what the horse is going to present to you on a certain day. And if you try to train on, let's say, steering, and that horse is giving you a good opportunity to work on stopping, then you're going to make a whole lot more headway if you work on steering that day instead of stopping. So you might have an idea of what you want to work on, but you need to kind of let the horse dictate to you what you work on. I'm going to walk her around just a little bit. If you've watched that spooky but not spooky video I did of her, she was acting spooky, but she was acting spooky because she needed a leader. Well, what my goals were was to become her leader, and when I did, that basically took the go out of her, because she was reacting and moving forward out of a little bit of, I'd say fear, but not necessarily fear, but it was a little bit of fear because she didn't have a leader and she didn't know what she was supposed to do. So when I made myself her leader and convinced her that I was her leader, that fear went away. So now what I've had to do is go back and work on all the basics: steering, stopping, backing, and work on all that to get her to become the horse that she needs to be, to put her on the road to where she needs to be, to where she ends up for the family that she belongs to. So right now I just got on her, walked her around a little bit. She keeps stopping. I'm not really going to do much about that right now. I'd rather her want to stop and me have to push her forward than have to pull her back. But you see, I am working. She is giving me some issues with her steering, so that's what I'm going to work on today, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Let the horse tell you what you're going to work on that day. So I'll ask her to walk forward. As we walk forward and work on steering, the go will get better, the stop will get better. Just ask her to walk forward. And we're just going to kind of mull around a little bit. We'll go forward. We're going to turn. We'll go forward again. She's wanting to take charge. She's actually wanting to kind of fuss just a little bit. I'm just going to keep redirecting her attention. I'm not going to let her get away with throwing her head like that. So that's what she gave me to work on right now. So I'm going to take her head away. I'll take her head away the other way. Not sure I'm in the frame of the camera, but this is where she gave me the problem. We're going to work on it right here, and then we're going to go on. Okay, I think we're back in the frame of the camera. She started kind of tossing her head, trying to take the reins away from me. So what I did was pull her nose around and make her move her feet. Still not wanting to give in. We'll go that way. Now let's go this way again. Good girl. I'd like to get a little bit of forward walk going without her tossing her head. There we go. That's better. Let's steer. Try to stay in the camera frame. Staying in the camera frame causing me a little bit of trouble. I have my heavy ring snaffle on her. The bit weighs, I think, about 3 pounds, but it's just it's a smooth snaffle bit mouth, one joint. So when she throws her head, that weight of the rings kind of bounces around and is unpleasant. There we go. Good girl. Just kind of drifting off to the left. I want to steer right. Pull her head right. We get going. She's wanting to go where she wants to go. I want to get in her head that she's going to go where I want to go. I am the leader. Keep reinforcing that I am the leader. That is what she needs. Back to that road trip, that map. That is the lesson that she needs to learn. Good opportunity to talk about how I'm handling my reins. You notice I'm only pulling on one rein at a time, and then I'll get slack. They're both slack. I want to pull to the right, I get my left hand in the middle, run my right hand down, pull the right rein. If I'm going to go left, I put my right hand in the middle, run my left hand down. That way, I don't pull on both reins at the same time. I just pull on one rein at a time, and that gives me enough slack that I'm able to do that. I prefer to have split reins for this. That way I can give them as much slack as I need to so that I'm giving good communication. I'm not telling them anything what I don't want to be. And then when I do want to be, I can get a hold of one rein, tell them to do something. Right there, she started to throw her head, and before she could, I got a hold of that one rein and got her head around. Right there, she's kind of wanting to root on my hands a little bit. I'm not going to give her any contact to root against, and I'll pull her head to the side. That'll discourage her from wanting to root on your hands. She learns that getting slack doesn't mean getting her way. Then there's no reason for her to root on my hands. That's why when I don't want to be telling her anything, I want to give her plenty slack. Starting to get a walk. Starting to get a decent walk. Not quite so apprehensive. Got a little forward to it. Got a little rhythm, like she's not wanting to speed up. She's looking around a lot, which I'm not going to do a whole bunch about that, other than if her ears lock over on what she's looking at, I will redirect her direction, change her direction. I think I've talked about ears in several videos and how important it is to be paying attention to where your horse's ears are. Now, I am not going to ask her to trot or lope until I have developed a real nice even walk, and that she has quit challenging me to do what she wants to do. If she's still challenging me at a walk, then there's no reason to go faster. She'll still challenge me going faster, and I won't be as quick or consistent with getting her attention back on me and redirecting her. So I want to get her walk a little better, which might be later today. It's getting pretty nice. When it gets better, I will ask for a little bit of trot. Her ears are kind of locked over. Whoop. I started talking and that left ear came back. I like that. Now they're locked over there again. We're going to change directions. That ear coming back when I started talking is a big deal. I don't know if there's something over there that she's worried about or if she's just interested in looking. But because that ear came back when I started talking, that tells me that she is accepting me as her leader, even when she's distracted with something else. So that's a big deal. I've been walking away from the camera a lot. I hadn't walked towards it much. See if we can do a little bit more walking towards it. I don't know how much of this I'll end up editing out when I put this video together. There's a lot of little things going on while I'm just kind of muddling around here. It's a big deal, but unless you're a person that's really interested in the finer points of training, it's going to be boring to a lot of people. But if you really want to train some nice horses, this is the kind of thing you need to be paying attention to. This is going to end up being a nice horse one day. She was on the road to a bad situation when I got her, when they sent her to me. These people reached out for help, which was a really smart thing for them to do. I see way too many times people don't want to reach out for help with their horse, and the horse keeps getting worse and worse. It's almost like people are doing something with their horse that they think is going to help, and don't realize that what they're doing is actually creating more problems. Not going to give that rein back. I'm going to hold it. I picked up that left rein to turn left, and she started to pull back and say no. Well, because I held that rein and didn't give it back, I won that, and that's going to discourage her from doing it again. Don't mean she won't do it again, but if she didn't win, she's less likely to do it again. Drifting right again, we turn left. Little things like that. I don't really have an agenda of where I want to go. Now we're drifting left, we're going to turn right. I have to be willing to adjust our ride to whatever the horse gives me at the time. Turn loose, let's see what happens. Drifting left, let's turn right. It's funny how doing circles and changing directions will make your horse travel straight. It's relatively straight. Drifting a little bit right. Let's turn right a little, turn left. Kind of hung on my left hand just a little bit. Now we're drifting right. Go ahead and send her left a little more. Turn left again. I want to eventually get so when I pick up a rein, her head comes and we get soft. So in order for that to happen, I'm going to take a hold of the rein and I'm going to pull, and it's going to take about 4 seconds for me to get from 0 to 100%. And that's going to give her the chance to respond to light contact before I go ahead and pull hard to get to that 100%. If I don't ever ask soft, that was pretty soft right there, but then she got hard. If I don't ever ask soft, she'll never become soft. In whatever direction I'm pulling with my hands, I'm reinforcing that with my leg. So I'm pulling right here with my right, giving a little bit of pressure with my left calf. We'll turn left right here, I'll pull with my left hand, a little bit of pressure with my right calf. I want her, in the process of all this, to learn to let me steer her shoulders with my legs. I can point her nose, and she's already shown you, just because her nose is pointed doesn't mean she's going to go that direction. So I can point her nose whatever direction I want to point it, and I want the shoulders to follow. So if I reinforce my steering with my legs, that's going to help teach her to follow her nose, and that's also going to work out later into doing some leg yields and pretty much any kind of training you want to do from there. But back to my road map again, that kind of training isn't really what this horse needs. That's not part of our end goal. If our end goal was this horse was going to go and train and be a cow horse or reining horse or whatever, I'd be working on more leg yields right now. That's not part of our roadmap. That's not where we want to go. So because that's not where we want to go, I'm using my legs to tell her shoulders to follow her nose, to try to get into her whenever they steer her nose that she needs to follow. Because that's where this horse needs to be. If this horse was going to be a reining horse or cow horse, then I'd have a little bit different map. I'd be going a little bit different direction. And that was pretty nice. She was pretty soft on my hands, bent her head to the side, and actually lowered her nose a little bit without rooting it out of my hand. I like that. Let's see if we can get that to the left. There we go. I like what we're getting right there. Go to the left again. Good. She's giving her nose to me a lot softer. If you notice, she has been chewing a lot throughout the ride. Really not gonna, I really don't make too much of that chewing. Normally they do that because they're a little bit worried. Sometimes they do it because they're worried. Sometimes they do it because they're relaxed. I think she's doing it because she's a little bit worried, because she's not sure that me as a leader is going to make the best decision for her. So she's a little worried about that, but I am making her decisions, and when she gets more confidence in me as her leader, I believe that's going to go away. When she throws her head, like you've seen her do a few times, that's almost like her saying, I'm not sure if you're really worthy of being my leader, but because I hold the rein and don't give it back, I'm saying I am your leader, and this is what we're going to do. Really like where this ride is going. This is going to be a nice horse. Good. Now that time is a little different than when she was stopping earlier. Well, she's pooping. But when she was stopping earlier, it was almost stopping out of defiance. Like, I don't really want to go forward. You're asking me, I don't really want to go. But that stop right there, of course she was pooping, but it was like, I think maybe I don't want to do all this work. Maybe I should listen to you and do what you asked me to do. So maybe my way isn't the right way. Let's try your way. And I think that's what she was thinking there a little bit. And I feel that coming with her. I've had those last few turns was been softer and easier. Of course, they haven't all been that way, but I feel that coming in her. Her brain kicking in and saying, well, maybe you are worthy of being my leader. Let's give this a try. There we go. I like what I'm getting with her head and neck. She's relaxing. And right there, that was a little bit of resistance right there. But we're just going to keep on steering. A little bit of right leg with my left spur. Right leg with my left hand. And when I've got that resistance in her head, when she pulled on me a little bit, I actually touched her with my right spur there. Let's go around and do that again. Let's see what happens this time. So we're going to steer left. Right calf. Now she's kind of, well, she didn't step to the left with her shoulders immediately, but just about the time I started to do something, she did. And if she would not have stepped to the left, I would have just pushed with my right spur just a little bit. I already had calf in. Took her a step or two, but she was like, okay, I feel your calf there. We'll go ahead and turn. Nice. See that chewing starting to relax a little bit? She's still chewing some, but it's not as aggressive chewing as it was. Nice. Let's ask her to stop right here and let's see what we get. Whoa. Good girl. Good girl. Let's ask for one step back and let's see what happens. See if we get a nice step back. If we does, we're going to go on and do something else. If I don't, we'll see if we need to work on that. See if we can find something else we need to work on. Rooting on my hands a little bit. Good girl. That wasn't bad, but we are going to work on that just a little bit. I'd like to get the step back without her pushing on my nose, on her nose, pushing with her nose. So what we're going to do, we're going to back up again. Well, we're going to walk forward just a little bit, and I'll ask her to stop again, and then we'll back up. Going back again, work with that road map. Now, if I was determined that we're going to work on this backup, by golly, and when she walked forward, If I would have pulled back and said, no, we're stopping here and we're working on backup, then that would have made my work on backup harder, because I would have just been teaching her to push into the bit. So let's get back turned around. Ask her to stop again. Whoa, whoa, good girl. Always work on what your horse gives you to work on. Don't create a problem so that you can work on what you want to work on. So I'm going to take the slack out of my reins. Good girl. Good girl. Barely took the slack out. Didn't even get to tell you what I was going to tell you. Good girl. We worked on the backup when I was ground driving her in the very beginning. Now she's kind of backing up out of defiance a little bit. We're going to go back forward again. So I worked on backup when I was ground driving her, and that laid the foundation of the backup. So I didn't have to fight with it from the saddle. She already knew what I was asking for. Good girl. Let's go back forward again. Tip her nose to the left and walk forward. I rarely, with what I consider a green horse, we're starting to get a little rain, I'm going to have to quit. With what I consider a green horse, ask them to walk directly off from a standstill. And you kind of, let's say a snaffle bit horse, I hardly ever walk them directly forward from a standstill. The reason being is I want to get some softness when I walk forward. Fixing to have to quit. I want some collection and I want some engagement in the back end. So I'm going to walk off forward. I'm going to send them forward with my legs, but I'm going to make a little bit of contact with one rein, and we're fixing to have to go inside. So before the rain gets too bad, whoa. I hope you found this helpful with learning how to put your roadmap together with your horse from where you're at to where you're going, and help you make some decisions on how you're going to get there. So before I get too wet and my camera and everything gets rained on, I'm going to run inside, and thank you for watching. Whoa. Good girl.